Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be breaking down the Roaring Skies set. Now, honestly, I think this set is a little weak. I mean, there are good cards in this set that'll definitely change the game, but there's not many playable cards. I'm doing air quotes here. So, without further ado, let us review the set. So, the first thing we got is Exeggutor. And nothing too good here. I mean, Shake It Off is based off of a Taylor Swift song, but it's not that good of an attack. I mean, 20 damage times the number of colors Pokemon you have in play. Not really anything too special going on there. I mean, there aren't really decks that play all colorless Pokemon, so this card is just not playable. Next up is probably the more of the interesting cards, and that's going to be Beautyfly. So Beautyfly is a stage 2, but it has the same ability as Sigilyph and Suicune. And they're rotating, so this is going to be the only thing we got. And it's on a stage 2, so I doubt this thing is going to be that playable. Maybe when the rotation happens, I can see this card actually being a pretty decent card when the rotation happens, but for now, I mean, it gets killed by Flareon pretty easily, and it's just not that powerful, but it does have miraculous scales. Whirlwind isn't that great of an attack, to be quite honest with you, because it only does 80, and then it forces them to switch, but they can easily switch to a non-EX, so not that powerful of a card, but you never know, right? It's an interesting thing to look at because of the ability. Next up, we have a Dustox. This one is not that playable at all. I mean, the artwork's cool. First, we got our Ancient Trade, our first Ancient Trade card in the set, and that is going to be another Dustox. So it has the ability, if your or the Ancient Trade thing, whatever. If your opponent's Pokemon, if your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from its tag, you just take one more prize. So you can actually take 3 prizes with this card if you knock out an EX. However, its attack isn't really that good. 1 for 20, not that strong. Windshard, I could see actually be decent with the there's a card that I think coming in this set that allows you to like hit stuff for weakness. So I could see this actually being a pretty strong attack. I mean, you can do like 100 damage to like a Seismitoad, but I don't think this card will be playable just because it's stage 2. And you kind of need to set up a lot of energy to do that attack. But it's still something very interesting. And I mean, could make a fun deck. Okay, next up is probably the more of the interesting stuff also, like Beautyfly. And that's going to be Ninjask. Wing Buzz. Once during your turn before you attack, if this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. This could be a very interesting deck. I think this deck will be playable right now. Not when the rotation happens. This card with like Floette and like Max Potion, I could see this being a pretty fun deck. Like you Max Potion, you play Floette to give it more health, and then just constantly keep using Execute as the thing. I could see this card being a pretty decent deck. I actually think this deck could be pretty fun to use. I'll have to try it out. I don't think it's obviously going to be the best deck ever, but still I think this deck could be fairly popular. Next up, in my opinion, is the best Seismitoad counter we've gotten. Whoops, and this is going to be Shedinja. Shedinja is very good because of Hopeless Scream. If you play Floette, which gives your grass Pokemon 20 more health, this card could do a lot of damage. And this might be the best way to counter Seismitoad. Seismitoad hits you for 30, and if you have like a Floette in play, yeah, that's kind of going to be doing like 300 damage to a Seismitoad. This card I think could be a fairly interesting card. Obviously, I don't think right now, I mean, 30 HP isn't that much HP, but with like Floette, I think this card could be a fairly interesting card, and definitely something. Next up, we have a Tropius. I mean, nothing that good. The artwork's really cool. It's in Fortree City, but not really that great of a card, to be honest with you. Next up, we got another Victini, which just not that good of a card either. And I don't know why. Cybolt. Isn't that like for like psychic types? I know Victini had a psychic type version, but that was in Noble Victories. Next up, we have a Talonflame, sorry. Which, this is like the 3rd Talonflame we've gotten, which is pretty weird. But this card, it's not that good. I mean, Grand Loop is a funny attack, but not that good. And Brave Bird is just generic. It's not that great of a card, but next up we have our Articuno. Find Ice is an interesting attack because this thing is a basic, keep in mind. So maybe this could be a good card for Blastoise. Just Find Ice, get those water energies, and then Keldeo next turn. And I don't know. This card could be interesting because of Find Ice, but I don't really think Find Ice is that great of an attack. Next up, we have another Ancient Trait, and this is going to be an Articuno. And this thing has the same ability as that Dustox had. And it's got Chilling Sigh. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. Doesn't do any damage, so it's kind of useless. Tri-Edge isn't that good either. I think maximum you can do 140 damage, which is not that much. And you need to flip coins. Not that great of an attacker, but you never know. We can make something fun with it because of that Ancient Trait ability. Next up, we have Pelipper, which, just like in the video games, this card is useless. 4 energy to do 70. Yeah, I mean, that's all I gotta say is just no. We got another Pikachu, which is nice, because you can run this thing with with Raichu. The artwork is kind of funny, to be honest with you. I mean, that person's face hasn't even loaded in. That's a funny-ass artwork, I'm not gonna lie. I think this card actually could be better, too, than the one we got in X and Y, because instead of paralyzing them, it just straight up says you can't attack. So that could be a fairly good one, but then again, they can just retreat. So I don't know, it's a toss-up, to be honest with you. Next up, we have an Electrode. Not that good either. It's not as good as like Electrode Prime or the one from Plasma Freeze. Just not a good card. Yeah, doesn't have any good attacks. The artwork is kind of funny though, I'm not gonna lie. Next up is Zapdos. Now this card I actually think could be a fun deck. The artwork is incredible. And Raging Thunder is actually a pretty awesome attack. 3 energy to do 120 damage. That is just mad. 3 for 120 with Milotic from Flash Fire. You can set this thing up pretty quickly. And you do 40 damage something, but I mean, we can always work around that, right? So yeah, I think this card is pretty good because of Raging Thunder. But next up we have Manectric, which is technically our 4th Manectric card we've gotten. Not that good. I mean, Random Spark is, yeah, not that good. Next up we have our first EX in the set, and that's going to be Thundurus. Another Thundurus EX. This card I actually think is I think this card is decent. Not that good, but it's definitely an interesting thing. Headlock. Headlock does the same thing as Electabuzz did from the base set, but it does more damage. Not that strong of an attack, though, to be honest. Voltage Rush is what I'm thinking of. With a Muscle Band, Mega Manectric, or like you could do like Ditto Milotic, then like the Muscle Band. You can start taking 1-hit knockouts on some EXs. I think this card will see some play, maybe. But no, I mean, not right now, but maybe. We'll see. I mean, Voltage Rush is an interesting attack, and even its first attack is pretty cool. But for now, it's just something interesting to look at. Next up, we have a Natu, and this card a lot of people think might be useful against, like, Lucario or Mewtwo. It has the same ability as Articuno and Dustox, and Psywave basically does 10 damage times the amount of energy you touch your opponent's active Pokemon. Plus, if you play Dimension Valley, you only have to pay 1 Psychic for that. I don't think this card is any good at all, because it's only got 40 HP. I really don't think this card will see any play at all as an interesting tech card. It's still an interesting card, but 40 HP. Maybe with like Xatu, you could play that Stadium card that allows you to play your Pokemon's attacks from like your past evolutions. But even then, I still don't think that's that good of a card. So it's interesting, but I don't think it's that good. Shout out to Bleh, which pretty much sums up this card. First off is this thing, Bayonet. This card is going to see some play. It basically shuts off all tool cards when you play it. That is very big, especially against decks that rely on Muscle Band, Floatstone, what else is there? Silver Bangle. Just any deck that plays tool cards, this will pretty much make Mega Evolutions completely useless. Well, not completely useless, but, I mean, it'll really hurt Mega decks sometimes. This ability is very good, and this card will probably be played because of that amazing ability. Next up is another Bayonet, which this card allows you to just play it down if you've already played that Pokemon. So if you played Shuppet from your hand that turn, you have this in your hand, you can play this card that same turn, which is pretty fun. Curse Deeply, not that great of an attack. One for 50, or one technically for 50 damage. Could be interesting with Dimension Valley. Evolution Jammer is kind of where this card may be decent. 1 for 20, and then they can't evolve. I don't think it's that good, but it's interesting. It's an interesting card. It's not a good card. It's an interesting card. Who knows? I still think the regular version is 20 times better because of that amazing ability. Next up, I think, is a good card, and this card may see some decent play. Close Encounter. If you go first, you can do this attack. Just draw 2 cards. That is going to be some decent draw support. We do have a Manaphy, but that's for water. This can be for any energy you want. And another reason I think this card will see play as a draw support card, if to go first, you also have Overdrive Smash. Now, when the rotation happens, I think Lucario will go up in price, because that card is going to be pretty powerful, Lucario EX. This may be the best counter to it. Pretty much, you can do 90 damage after you do Overdrive Smash first, but you're going to hit Lucario for weakness. So not only will this card be a decent thing to start with to draw cards, this card might be useful for Overdrive Smash. I don't know, we'll see. I mean, we have Shaman EX, which kind of changes everything, but you never know. Next up is another EX, and this is Gallade. I really am kind of angry that we got a Gallade EX, because we already have a Gallade EX in the game. We already had one before this. I really wish they made like a different EX, like, I don't know, like Mega Camera, what am I saying, like Mega Ampharos or Mega Salamence. That would have been amazing. But this card isn't that great. Piercing Prizes is a funny attack because it does even more damage for more prizes you have. Just not a good EX. But the Mega, I think, is actually playable. And this card, I think, is going to be a pretty good deck, especially against Lucario. Unwavering Blade for 3 energies, but we can say 2 because of Dimension Valley. It is 110, which is a solid amount of damage. Then it does 30 damage to everything that on your opponent's bench that had damage on it. Pair that with Absol, Crobat, and just bench hitting stuff because Mr. Mime will eventually rotate. This card will be pretty good. This might be a very threatening card. It's got good HP. You can attack for 2 energies technically, and it does 110. So you're 2-shot in EXs most of the time, and you also are going to pick off stuff from the bench. Just a very, very solid card in my opinion. Next up we have Gliscor, nothing too good there. We have Binacle, that's a pretty funny artwork, I'm not gonna lie. And then we got Hawlucha. Obviously this card is not playable. It's got an amazing artwork, but not playable because it's not the same Hawlucha as in Furious Fists. That one is just great. Now we got into an interesting card. So when you play this card from your hand onto your bench, I gotta move that off. You may put 3 damage. You may move 3 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one. So, kind of similar to Dusknoir from Boundaries Cross ability. I don't think it's as good though, but could be playable. I don't know. We'll see. Cursed Eyes is an interesting ability, and yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. We will see. Next up we have Inkay, which I don't know why we didn't get Malamar. We only have like 2 dark types in this set, which is kind of dumb. They should just gave us a Malamar, to be honest with you. Not that good, but it did squirt ink in Meowthsai and stole its fruit. That's kind of mean, to be honest with you. I'm just kidding. But moving on, we have Jirachi, which honestly, I actually predicted a Jirachi would come in the next set, and I thought it was going to do the same thing as Victini with the reflip thing, but unfortunately not. This artwork looks like it's straight out of Jirachi Wishmaker. It literally looks like it's out of the anime or a movie. Its first attack is fairly interesting. I think it could work with metal decks. Doom Desire is another interesting attack with Dragalge and like Hypnotoxic Laser. That could actually be a pretty effective deck. So who knows? This card, I think it'll be definitely something to look at, but maybe we'll see what happens. Next up, we have a Togekiss, which has a very similar artwork to the old days of Pokemon. Powerful Slap is an interesting attack. Maybe it could work against Mega Rayquaza. Oh, never mind. Never mind. Whatever. Forget I said that. This thing could work against Dragon types that became popular. But I think the best version is going to be the Ancient Trait version. You can drop this thing down along with Togekiss and Togepi. So, never mind. If you play Togepi and then play Togekiss, right? You can play this thing down as soon as you evolve your Togepi into a Togekiss. Or Togetic, sorry. Why is it good? Well, Serene Grace. When you place Pokemon from your hand, to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may look at the top 8 cards of your deck, choose any basic energy card there, find them, put it in, and attach your Pokemon any way you like. That ability is extremely good, especially with EXs that may need a lot of energy to attack. This card is probably going to be a very sought after card. It's got a great ability and a great effect for exchange and trade. This card is just solid because of that ability. Just amazing card. Next up we have Carbink. It's got a fairly interesting ability. Maybe this could be played with that Zapdos I talked about earlier. Just on your bench, it can't be damaged, but it's not that really that playable, but you never know. Another Klefki. Not that good. We've gotten like 5 Klefkis so far. Now we got a Dragonite. This card, I think, could see some potential play because of Max Wind. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve on your Pokemon, heal all damage from that Pokemon. Pretty much Max Potion without the energy discard. So this card, I think, will see some potential play. Maybe with Wailord. That'd be a really funny deck. Wailord, Dragonite. Just, I don't know. That'd be funny, though. But a very interesting ability, to say the least. And then we got an Ancient Trade version of it. We're not of the card, but we have another Ancient Trade card, and that's going to be Dragonite also. So this card also, when you knock something out, you take another prize. Not that playable because of how much energy it needs to attack. Maybe with Mega Manectric. I could see this card seeing a tad bit of potential, maybe with Togekiss. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, guys. With Milotic, maybe Milotic and Togekiss. But I highly doubt it. This card is interesting, to say the least. But we're moving on. There's a lot of Dragon types in this set. Next up, we have Altaria. Yeah, not that good. Yeah, the artwork is pretty good, though. Not gonna lie. Next up, we have Bagon. And then we got another Bagon. And then we have a Shelgon, which does the same thing as the Fracture from Plasma Blast. And then we have Salamence. This card, I think, is probably the best Stage 2 out of this whole set. Maybe better than Togekiss. This, like, Shatter 1 for 60. Discard any stadium. Bye-bye Silent Lab, bye-bye Fairy Garden, bye-bye Fighting Stadium. Bye-bye Rough Seas. Great card. Great attack. Power Howl, I don't think it's that good. Steam Blast could work with Milotic and Togekiss. With one of those two. You can knock out EXs in one hit. Amazing attack. This card, I think, is probably the best Stage 2 in the set. Maybe. Next up, we have Latios EX, which could be a good counter to Zubat with the ability Free Flight. Because if you see this thing, it's like, ooh, there goes my Zubat. Fast Raid is an interesting attack. Solid damage. Well, whoops. Solid damage, but not that playable because of Light Pulse. But I think its Mega might actually work well, and that is going to be Mega Latios. Discard 2 energy times Pokemon, do 120 or something. That can knock out the new Shaman. Jirachi. What else is there that has low HP? Whatever, you get the point. This card, I think, could see a small amount of play as a tech. Not as, like, an actual, like, deck, but just as a very interesting tech card. Just because Sonic Ace could work, but who knows. With Togekiss it could work, but I don't know. We'll see what happens, guys. Not that great, but interesting. First up, we got our first Rayquaza of the set. This card isn't very good at all. Like, look at it. Just nothing good. 4 for 130. Terrible, terrible attack. Moving on, we have our Mega Rayquaza, which is the bad one. It does have an interesting ancient trait ability for a Mega. Basically, Grass, Fire, Water, and Lightning Pokemon do 20 less to it, but not that great of a card. Dragon Ascent, not that good of an attack. 5 for 300. Who knows? Maybe this could work. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe with Togekiss. Whatever. And next up is my favorite Pokemon, but not that great of a card. Dragon Rend. If there is any stadium in play, the retreat cost of each of your dark Pokemon is 2 less. which is nice for dragon, sorry, for dragon decks, because then they're gonna have 2 less retreat cost. Shred isn't that great though. 3 for 80, and then it's not affected by any effects, so like goes through Pyroar and like Suicune. I think this card might be fun with Togekiss, because it'll set up the Hydreigon really easily. I don't know, we'll see. I'll try it out, but disappointed, man. Hydreigon is like my favorite Pokemon. It's just sad to see it not that playable. Who knows though? Next up is another interesting card, and that's going to be Reshiram, which is like running from the sun, or a volcano. Once during your turn, before you attack, if this thing is your active, you may attach a fire energy from your hand to one of your dragon Pokemon. This could work with that Mega Rayquaza I just showed you guys. And it could work with a lot of other things, but then again, the ability isn't that great. I don't know, we'll see. It's a fairly decent card. Next up is Zekrom, which isn't that great either. 1 for 30. It's awesome artwork though. 1 for 30. Attach space energy card from your discard pile of this Pokemon. Electric Ball, not that great either. Just not that great of a card, unfortunately. But hey, good artwork. I keep clicking on that Klefki by accident. And next up is Fearow. Again, not that good. Meowth, not that good. Feeling fine. That's a, oh hey, look, it's Yankee. It's about to steal its. Then that's funny. Dunsparce, I mean, not that good. Burrow's funny, but not that good. Colorless Skarmory, which is interesting, but Blow Through is a fairly cool attack, but I mean, it's not that great. Next up, we have Swellow, which is the first one. Again, not very good. I'm just gonna scroll down a bit. And then we have another Swellow, which does the same thing as Articuno and Dustox. Again, not very good because it doesn't hit anything for weakness, but you never know when this card could be a cool deck. You never know. It's got a great artwork though. I love that artwork. Next up, we have Altaria, which when you play this Pokemon from your hand, you can do it again. So it's like, hey, you know, play this Wobbler, and you can play this card. Again, Clear Humming, I think, is going to be a very effective ability for colorless decks. So maybe Exeggutor might be playable, because I think colorless decks might actually work well with this thing, because this card will need to be played with the next card, Rayquaza EX. Now, this card is amazing. Dragon Pulse, not that great of an attack, but Intensifying Burn, which is the exact same name as Victini EX. This card, this attack rate is very, very good. If the thing is an EX, the active Pokemon is an EX, it does 60 damage. That is great. So you're going to be hitting them for 60 damage really early on. 80 with a Muscle Band. Just an amazing attack. And awesome artwork too. So just, like I said, all around a great card. Next up is Mega Rayquaza EX. So you can actually play this card the same turn you played that Rayquaza EX, which makes this card extremely good. But why is it good? Emerald Break. This attack does 30 damage times the number of your bench Pokemon. Well, that's only doing 150. It's doing more damage because we have a new stadium that allows you to play 8 benched Pokemon. Meaning this thing is going to be doing 180 damage. No, it's going to be doing a lot more damage than that. Wait. Yeah. This card's going to be doing a lot of damage. Let's say that. It's going to be knocking stuff out in one hit. This card is probably going to break the game, to be honest with you, because there's so much colorless support. And then we have another amazing card, Shaymin EX. Sky Return is already a good attack with Muscle Band, Robo Substitute. Setup. Same thing as Uxie from Legend Awakened. Setup. Just play it and you draw 6 cards. Draw cards and you have 6 in your hand. A lot of people might not even play stuff like Shauna, Professor Birch's Observations. They just go with Shaymin EX. However, it is easy bait for Latios EX and Crobats and stuff. But setup is still a very strong ability. And honestly, it's refreshing, to be honest with you. It's just a very powerful ability. And I think this may be not the best EX or best card in the set, because I think this card is. But still, this card is amazing. And then we have it on Pheasant, which just, yeah. Strong Winds is a very funny attack. Shuffle Arc card, touch these players' Pokemon in that player's deck. Okay, that is a very funny attack. but not that good because it's not doing damage. I don't know. It's a funny attack to say the least. And then we have another Unfezant. So you can, evolve the same thing if you play the Tranquil down. It's fairly interesting, to be honest. Feather Dance can make this thing do 200 damage for 3, but you have to rely on a coin flip. This will definitely be a deck I'm going to have to try out with Victini. And moving on, then we just got our basic Spearling cards for Gallade, Latios. And then we have this card, which is pretty decent. Healing Scarf. So it's a tool, and you play it on, and whenever you put an energy on that Pokemon, you heal 20 from it. That, I think, could work well with, well, really anything. Like, maybe, like, in a fairy deck. I don't know. It's interesting to say the least, but who knows? I don't know what it'll actually work with. Next up, we got another great card. And this card, I think, is going to make Megas extremely broken. Attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your Mega Pokemon. This thing will set this thing up turn 1. Think about it. Play the Rayquaza, play the Spirit Link of Mega Evolve, put a DCE on, play that card, Battle Compressor, put whatever you want, and then bam. Yeah, you get the point. This will be broken. Even with stuff like Primal Groudon in this card right here. Double Dragon Energy with the Tool card. Yeah. I think it's a pretty good card. And it's definitely going to make Megas pretty good. Especially with Lysander's Trump card. And Rayquaza Spirit Link, which actually looks pretty cool. They reprinted Revive, which wasn't really that great of a card to say the least. But interesting though, because who knows, it could see play because it puts a basic Pokemon onto your bench, which could be an EX, so you never know. Skyfield, a great card, especially with stuff like Raichu too. We can make Raichu do 200 damage. Or, yeah, 200, right? No, 160, then with the Muscle Band, 180, but still a very good card to say the least. And then finally we have Steven, which is a very, very good card. This thing is like Roseanne's Research. Search your deck for a supporter card and a basic energy and then put them in your hand. Amazing card. It's too bad there's no fuller, because I know there was a fuller made, but too bad. Reprint a Switch. I thought this was plus power at first when I saw this, but I got disappointed because it wasn't. Look at the top 4 card of your deck. Reveal a trainer card you put there, except for this card, and then put it in your hand. This card could be playable, but I don't know, because it's only to get an item card, or a trainer card, actually. Huh. Reminds me of, I don't know, we'll see. I don't know. Reprint of Ultra Ball, and that's fine. We already had a reprint in Flashfire, but it's always nice to see Ultra Ball reprinted. Great card. Next up, we have a Wally. Search your deck for a card that evolves one of your Pokemon, excluding EX, and put that onto that Pokemon. This counts evolving that Pokemon. Shuffle your deck afterwards. You can use this card during your first turn or a Pokemon, or on a Pokemon that was put into play this turn. This will work pretty well with, well, lots of stuff. Like, just Stage 2 decks will benefit from this a lot. Even Stage 1 decks, like Pyroar, even though Pyroar won't really see much play as Megas, but still a very, very good card. Next up, we have Wide Lens. Damage from this attack isn't affected by weakness. Oh yeah, this is the card I was talking about. So, like, with Dustox, this card could work against, like, really Seismitoad. I don't know. It's an interesting card, definitely, but who knows. We'll see what happens, fan. And then we got Wyona. Search your deck for up to 3 colors. Great card, especially with the colorless decks like Shaman, Mega Rayquaza. Just amazing card for that deck. Finally, we got a Dragon Energy after so long since Dragon Exalted. This card can only be put on a Dragon Pokemon, and it provides 2 energy to that Pokemon. This card is going to make Dragon Pokemon extremely playable, especially the new Kingdra from Primal Clash, and even Hydreigon and Mega Latios. Great card. It's going to really make Dragon-type decks really popular and powerful. And we got a Fuller to Thundurus, and we got a Fuller to Gallade, and we got a Fuller Mega Gallade. Got a Fuller Latios EX. Pretty cool Fuller. And then we got a Fuller Mega Latios, which I really love this Fuller. Just the pink and purple and blue that comes off makes it look really nice. Fuller Hydreigon, which looks amazing. Love Hydreigon so much. We got a Fuller Rayquaza, which is another great Fuller. Really blurry image, but still a great Fuller. Fuller Mega Rayquaza, which looks outstanding. And then we have a full art Shaman, which also looks nice. All the full arts in the set are really nice. And then we got a full art Wally, which looks pretty interesting. And we have a full art Wyona, which kind of looks intimidating because Wyona's like, yeah, man, I'm going to mess you up. You screw with me. And then we got the 2 shiny trainers, which I really hope they make a shiny Acrobike or like a shiny Battle Compressor or shiny Muscle Band. Energy Switch. Move a basic energy. Just, yeah, you already know what these cards do. This card right here, I think, will go for 80 bucks. Because this is like one of the best item cards in the game. It might even be number 1 on a top 10, top 5 list I'm going to be doing for Phantom Forces. Great card. Amazing card. So anyways, that is the set review of Roaring Skies. I will link this Pokebeach article in the description. Make sure you go check it out, and I'll see you guys on another video. Adios.